Hi there, welcome back to Our Little Handmade Home. In case you haven't been here before, my name is Tanya. I am the creator of this channel and it is my goal to help you turn any house into a home, one easy handmade project at a time. A couple of weeks ago, I brought you a video, an updated video actually, on this great brick path table runner, and I hinted that I had another project for you in mind. So today's project is the pillow cover that goes with the table runner. It's a simple, elegant pattern, quick and easy to make in an afternoon. So let's get started. So in my video a couple of weeks ago for the brick path table runner, which is here, I talked about the reason that I was going to have some extra fabric and the project that I was going to work on for you guys. So today that's what we're doing. I have these three fabrics. So if you remember, this is the Harvest Wishes collection by Moda. And what I've done is I've already gone ahead and cut some of the strips and sewn them together, and actually have a couple of little squares cut apart to show you the direction that we're going with this one. So if you recall, I had these three, which I just love together. Absolutely pretty. I've cut the fabric into with the fabric strips like this. They're 1 7/8 inches wide. So I have the three of those, and then this is how they're going to look when they're stitched together. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the light color, this bark look, and the dark color beside it. And those are all sewn at 1/4 inch seam allowance. So for each pillow that we make, you're going to need 2 sets of these strips. You're going to need 2 strips of width of fabric for each pillow. So I'm just going to go ahead and stitch these together. At 1/4 inch. So once you have your strips sewn together, you're going to go ahead and press it. I like, in this case, to press this way. I like to press both of the center seams outwards towards the colors, because this is going to be your lightest color. And at this stage, you're not going to be nesting any of these seams. So just press it out that way. Once you pressed your seams, it's time to cut your squares to create your blocks. So to do that, what you need is 4.5 inch squares. So that's the size of the ruler that I have here. I'm just going to trim my selvage off. And if you're like me and you don't cut very well with your left hand, go ahead and flip it around. You just want to make sure that you have 4.5 inches for your width. And to make one pillow, you're going to need 16 of these small squares. As I say, you're going to need 2 sets of strips to make one pillow. Once you have your 4 squares cut for each of your blocks, so 16 in total, go through and make sure that they're all squared up. They should be 4.5 inches square before we start putting our blocks together. Once you've finished trimming all of your squares to put your block together, you're going to start building. Now, I like to do this pattern because when you put 4 blocks together, it really creates the zigzag pattern. So what you're going to do is lay them out in the pattern that you want. I mean, you could do anything you want here, but to create the true brick path look, we're going to go this way. So you're going to start by stitching these 2 together and these 2 together. And then once you've stitched them, go ahead and press your seams and press your seam towards this long piece. It reduces the bulk here because you've got 2 seams here already. And then when you do this one, press towards this long piece. Also, that allows you to nest your block together so that you get the nice clean point like this. So as you can see, we've got one seam going this way and one seam going this way, and it allows you to put them right together so you know exactly where your center point is. Repeat that for all 4 of your blocks, and then we'll put the rest of the pillow together. As you can see, these little squares within your blocks are very easy to chain together. So I have trimmed them off into the individual blocks. So once you get here, like I said, just press them open towards this longer seam. And this one here, so you can trim those off at this point. And then as you can see this way, when you look right here, those seams are just going to nest in perfectly, and it's going to help you line up your whole block. So go ahead and stitch all of your blocks like that. So as you can see, the nesting method works out really well. Your points in the center end up very clean. And when you're pressing these ones open, press this one this way. And then the next one, press the other direction. Because if you can nest your seams, it's definitely going to give you some cleaner lines. This will be the layout of the pillow cover. And following the same pattern as we did for the individual blocks, we're going to stitch this way, and we're going to stitch this one. We're going to press them open, and we're going to stitch this way. And then the front of our pillow will be finished. Our next step is to cut our backing fabric for our pillow. So at this point, your pillow cover is 16.5 inches. So that's the width of fabric that we need to cut. It's okay to leave the selvage on this one because that edge will be turned under. So with the right side of your backing fabric down, go ahead and press it. And then we're going to turn our long edge under by 1/2 inch and then 1/2 inch again. You could make this wider if you want to. It doesn't have to be exact. You just want to make sure that you're doing 2 folds. You'll repeat this step for the other piece, and then we're going to top stitch along this folded edge. Once you've squared up your pillow top, this is the time that you may want to add some quilting. I don't add any extra quilting because I like the pattern just the way it is, and I don't like to add batting because it just adds bulk. But if you wanted to do some quilting, now is the time to do so. Once you've finished that, we're going to layer our pillow cover back on top of our front. You want to make sure that your edges with the fold and the top stitching overlap towards the middle of your pillow. Now you may have to trim up your pieces a little bit on the sides as I've done. And you want to make sure that they're flush on all corners and edges. Then you'll want to secure your backs all the way around using either pins or clips. And especially these spots where you have the 3 layers. You want to make sure you're going to catch them all. You haven't lost a piece in the process. So once you've clipped everything in place, you're going to stitch your 1/4 inch seam all the way around. You don't need to leave an opening, of course, because this centerpiece here is your opening. The other thing that I like to do is I like to start my stitching right about here, because even though you're clipping or pinning in place, you can actually shift your fabric a little bit as you're sewing. And so if you start and finish in this section, it's going to be less visible than if you're doing it on these narrower sections. Clip everything in place and then stitch all the way around. And we'll be right back to see how that looks. Once you've stitched all the way around your edges, it is time to turn it right side out. So using a tool, or if you have nails like mine, flip it around, pop your corners out, and press your edges. Now, I know what you're thinking. Shouldn't I clip my corners? You can. However, this seam is very, very thin. The 1/4 inch seam is quite narrow, so there's not a lot of bulk. Also, if it turns out that you need to pull out your stitching for any reason, you don't want to have clipped your corners already and then possibly not have the space to stitch another back on, if that's what you're doing. So once you're at this stage, press it, then we're going to pop a pillow form in and see how it looks. I hope you enjoyed today's project, the Brick Path pillow cover. I have to tell you, I'm super happy to have this done for several reasons. Number one, I absolutely love how it all looks together. Number two, this project, to be honest, was a comedy of errors on my part. If you could see the original footage of this video, it was about an hour and a half longer than it needed to be, because I kept ripping out stitches, and in fact I even sewed some of this on inside out to start with. So just remember that when you're making a handmade project like this, have a little fun with it, because if you can't laugh at your own mistakes, you're taking quilting way too seriously. I'll see you again next week when I have another non-quilting project in mind for you.